is the top 5 classic bikes to buy now before they increase in value. Well, if you're the person who have hobbies in bikes, you should watch this list I made for you. The first generation Bandit 1200 is an obvious choice, but like all future classics the motorcycling public are steadfastly ignoring it. If you were one of the people that didn't fill your shed with cheap Ducati 916s in 2009, then don't blame me for not doing it again with Bandits now. Bandits don't fit the dream bike category of classics like a 916 or Honda RC30. Instead they sit in the "we all had one, loved it and wished we never sold it" sector. Suzuki's simple formula of putting a retuned GSX-R 1100 motor into a strong, old-school chassis and making the suspension and brakes more than good enough to cope was a winner. Selling it for less than the price of a sporty 600 allowed a whole generation of riders who would never have enjoyed a new or nearly new bike to experience the pleasure. Open throttle, go very fast, get around corners like you might even know what you're doing, repeat. In a time before biking became a leisure pursuit, the Bandit 1200 was a simple good time motorcycle for very appealing price. Genuinely good, standard examples are getting harder to find, but that doesn't matter because spares are plentiful and cheap and there's no fun in buying a minter because you'll be too afraid to scratch it. So buy the tidiest, most legitimate, cheap example you can find and enjoy the next few years watching prices rise as you slowly rebuild it. The earlier GSX-R 1000, 2001 to 2004, should be a classic because it was a new era of Suzuki speed and power. But it won't be because everything was changing quickly back then and the early GSX-R 1000s were neither game changers or universally loved. But the 2005 GSX-R 1000 K5 was different. Mostly because Suzuki built a road bike with an engine that delivered mid-range, but also because they cleverly made it a race bike too by chucking all the clever, subtle technology they could at it, building a motor that was far in advance of anything else out there. The K5 engine had top-end power and mid-range too. The best fuel injection of the mid-noughties by some distance, a slick gearbox and reliability to kill for. Having done that, they built a chassis that was comfortable for a sports bike, handled like a 600 and somehow, the whole thing weighed less than a Honda VFR 400 NC30. Oh, and it was good looking and priced to sell too. Those who had one will soon be wanting another and many who didn't are wondering if this is the classic GSX-R they should buy while prices are bumping along the bottom. You've already missed the boat on the first generation air-cooled GSX-Rs, whose prices are rising way above their actual values, but the GSX-R 1000 K5 will be the next, and possibly last, genuinely classic Suzuki. You had to be there to understand why Yamaha's VMAX matters so much. Back in 1985 a half-decent superbike made 120 bhp. Before Suzuki's featherweight GSX-R 750 arrived, biggest was most definitely best. In fact, even after the GSX-R, biggest was still mostly best because most of us 20-something riders didn't understand why less weight mattered. All we wanted was more power. Back then going round corners was necessary, but scary, and not or anything like as important as going as fast as possible. When Yamaha took their American Super Tourer, stripped off the fairing, gave it to Batman to do the styling and doubled the horsepower because they could, the VMAX was always going to cause a stir. Some bright spark then hired American drag racer J.P. Gleason and a super sticky drag strip at Valens Raceway, where the VMAX posted a 9-second standing quarter mile, which was so much quicker than any other production bike had run that even we Brits knew this was special. Detractors will tell you a VMAX doesn't handle. Not true, getting one round a corner is easy. Getting one round a corner quickly is another matter, but you don't buy a heavyweight muscle bike, built from a Tourer on cross-ply tires to corner quickly. By the time the UK got the VMAX officially in 1990's sports bike Britain, no one really wanted it. But now we get it? Prices are on the rise and supply of really good ones is drying up. Many were customized beyond restoration, which is fine because, well, it is. Be careful that the bike you buy is full power. Some, including official UK bikes registered before 1996, were restricted, which is why so many are American or Canadian imports. When Ducati first launched the Monster in 1993, pretty much everyone in biking slapped their forehead and said, why didn't we think of that? Ducati preempted Suzuki's Bandit by building a Bitsa that was even more desirable than the donor bikes, selling it relatively cheaply and selling them as fast as they could make them. Back then Ducati were in trouble, lurching from one financial challenge to another while somehow winning WSB championships for fun. Putting the air-cooled, carb-fed motor from a 900SS into a modified frame from the 888 Superbike with high bars, low exhausts and running gear fancy enough to justify a premium-ish price tag turned out to be a very good idea indeed. The M900 wasn't a retro like Kawasaki's Zephyr. Nor was it a sports bike, even though it had sportier components than pretty much anything wearing that name. The Monster was the first of the Super Nakeds. It had character and charm, but it also had the bite to go with the bark. The original M900 should have already been a classic for at least 10 years. It ticks every single box. Sadly, Ducati's excitement to make the most of the Monster brand meant we have had so many different versions, with so many specs and engines that the world has developed Monster fatigue, and the USP of that lovely, funky characterful roadster has been buried by water cooling, fuel injection, ever more sophisticated electronics and power figures more than double the original bike's numbers. Don't blame Ducati, they are in the motorcycle business, not the classic market. Instead, be thankful you can still buy a decent M900 for sensible money and hide a couple away while you still can. Before 1994, the only people who bought big trail bikes were a handful of eccentrics who simply wanted the physically biggest motorcycle they could buy. And the French, who all had at least three. In the UK we had mostly failed to buy Honda Africa Twins, Yamaha XTZ750S, or any of the previous BMW R80/R100 GS variants. Back then we bought small traileyes to either learn on or fall off in winter. BMW's 1994 R1100 GS seemed destined for a similar fate. Expensive, bizarre looking, and lacking in both horsepower and knee-down credentials, it should have gone straight to the back of the showroom. And largely, it did, at first. And then a few broad-minded bike journos started talking about it, excitedly. How the new 8-valve Boxer engine punched well above its weight, and how well the unconventional front suspension worked. And how comfy it was and easy to ride surprisingly quickly, even with a pillion. And how far it leaned over and. Our curiosity was pricked, and when the even more brilliant R1150 GS was launched in 1999, a few people actually started to buy them. When Ewan and Charlie wowed our parents, wives, and children, putting bikes on the telly and being very cool, more of us took the chance to jump ship from sports bike to adventure. Turning up at the pub on a mud-encrusted GS made you the man of mystery who might just have blown in from anywhere, where that Dayglow Dainese and Iridium visor had just made you look like a lollipop. As the bike that started it all, the R1100 GS deserves to be the classic it will surely become. Because not that many were sold, and because those that were, became touriers, and then cheap touriers, and then dispatch bikes, tracking down a good one is hard in 2019. But because of the above, they are still very good value. Spares and expertise are plentiful, and one day the R1100 GS will be as legendary as Kawasaki's Z1, a VSA Gold Star, or Honda RC30, because it was the first of the best. And, if you ride a good one today, you'll be surprised how good it still feels.